Saudi took Konka, Dajahao, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I am collabing again with my very favourite nerd. So we are approaching the nerd today, yes we are, and we are making a video about blackfishing in the wake of the whole Jesy Nelson. You know, your girl had to come through and give my mixed race opinion on blackfishing, and who better to do that with than with Maria, okay? So we're both gonna give our opinion. Hello again, Maria, back to my channel, back in another video, collabing again, yes. If you've not seen Maria before, she is from Approach Nerd, as I've already said, and her video links are down below, all about amazing reviews and mixed race stuff, and another mixed race content creator. So you know, so if you haven't already subscribed, although I'm sure you have, down below. And we are filming another video on her channel about, I'm not sure if you've heard, but there is someone called Dr. Umar who has interesting views. Let's just let's leave it at that, and then you can see our real reactions on her channel. Yeah. Which will of course be linked as well. So let's just kick off with this video. So today we are discussing blackfishing, and this is a topic I really want to discuss because Jesy Nelson and Nicki Minaj had a song called Boys. It blew up here, and not for the right reasons. Jesy Nelson is a white woman. Let's not get that twisted. Let's just, you know, clarify. She is white. However, looking at her, you would not guess this. Her tan is dark, and her makeup, her whole aesthetic does lean towards a black person or a mixed person. And so she has been told that she is blackfishing, which many say is the modern day blackface. So what was your initial thoughts when you saw it?
So I do not like, for the most part, cultural appropriation on any level. And so for me, yeah, this is, if she's fully white, that there's no difference from what she did in blackface. There's really no difference to me. I think the fact that Nicki Minaj wasn't in tune with that and was okay when they were making this video says a lot about a very problematic way of thinking. Because you know, with the struggle, especially here in the US and the social climate here, I don't understand how Nicki didn't say something, you know, in any of the production, creation, development stages of this video on how, why are you putting this woman in blackface? Because that is offensive for me. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. But personally for me, yeah, I can see why people are upset. I had never heard of blackfishing before this. I did look the term up, so I know it came up, a reporter, I think, kind of coined this back in 2018. So I'm in my 40s, so sometimes I'm not really up on, you know, all the latest, you know, lingo. You know, I don't understand what my daughter's saying to me half the time. She's 25, you know, so I just kind of stare. But I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to get in there, and I'm trying to keep up. I'm just old and slow. But blackfishing, which by the way is really funny. It's like you're fishing for black people. I don't know why you're doing that. I don't know, maybe black shading would have been a better term because of what she's doing. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, we live in a society where everybody is so sensitive about their own culture and their, you know, their own ethnicities. And so when, like, even down to dancing, I mean, I've seen people get upset with people in Korea. You know, Korea, K-pop is really big. And they're like, oh, but, you know, you're stealing dances from African Americans, and you're stealing, you know, so it's like, you know, we're very sensitive to that. So you would think in 2021, at this point, knowing all of this, whoever the concept person was, or the director of this video, would have said, you know what, I don't think that's really appropriate. I really need to see who the director of this video is. I'm really curious. Like, is this a white person? Is this a POC? Because that makes it even worse. This is like M. Night Shyamalan and the whole, you know, last Avatar movie, whitewashing. When a POC whitewashes, that's a whole other level.
That's quite interesting, because obviously Nicki Minaj obviously co-signed with the fact she even did the song, but P. Diddy also co-signed, as this is a remix of his song and he's in the video. That is another thing that caused a lot of debate here, because people are saying, why have we got these two very prominent black figures okaying a 100% white person sort of dressing up in this way? I'll admit, when I first saw the song, my first instinct was like, oh, it's a bit of a, it's not my cup of tea. It didn't really go as hard as it could have gone for me. But I think because I knew of her, I knew she was white. I was never confused about that. I have noticed in the last few years her aesthetic has been getting darker and darker and darker in terms of her tone. But because I knew that it was a tan, I didn't have that same, oh, this is blackfishing, if that makes sense. I think because in my brain I was like, oh, that's just her style now. However, when I then contrasted it to other celebrities such as Rita Ora, Ariana Grande, I remember when I found out that they weren't mixed, I was like, hang on. What do you mean they weren't? Especially like Rita Ora. Honestly, I would have put hand on heart and said, she's mixed. Okay, you can't tell me different. And then I found out she wasn't. I was like, okay, this isn't adding up. So then when I compared the two, I was like, well, actually, they're both doing the same thing. So of course it's blackfishing. Of course it's using and profiting off someone else's culture and dressing up to look like someone else. It's just, it feels very weird to me to darken your skin to a point that I can no longer tell that you're white.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who is part black, I mean, I couldn't do that without feeling like I was being insulting, and I have black in me. I mean, if I can't do it, you sure as hell can't do it. I'm just going to be real with you. Because I feel like it's... For her, I don't think she did it in a malicious way.
Yeah.
I really think she was wanting to be in the crowd. She wants to be a part of that world. It's just like the guy who obviously has psychological issues, who is what is it, trans race, who thinks that he's Korean and had all the surgeries to make himself Korean. I was gonna reference him later. I need to get your nose to Korean. But I feel like it's the same thing. Maybe she really wants to be a part of the black culture, which is, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, you also should love yourself and be proud of what you are, because, I mean, you're not black. So, I mean, no matter what she does, she's, she can tan her skin all day. She's never going to be black genetically. So, I mean... Like
you just said about loving yourself, to me, it reads as someone who's still not quite comfortable in their own skin and is still trying to kind of chase the ideal that they think is going to make them comfortable.
Something that everyone should know, when you are a person of color, you literally claim everything that is yours, and you get very unhappy when other people copy it. But what I always thought was interesting is, and this is all across the board with us POCs, we do not like when people copy us, but we will copy others. I'm like, and I mean, it's just something that happens because when we dye our hair blonde, when we straighten our hair, when we do all this stuff, that is something that is traditionally standard of beauty, especially here in the States. European or white European. So when we're doing that, technically speaking, we're doing the same thing. So when we get upset with somebody who's not a POC taking braids, like I think Adele, they got mad at her about that. Well, in the States they did. I think they actually didn't care. In Jamaica and other places they didn't care. When you see that, people are just hard up about cultural appropriation. How dare you take these braids? How dare you, basically do our makeup style, our hairstyle, our dance like us. But yet we do the same thing to other cultures. So I don't know. It's like, it's really interesting. Whenever we see stuff like this, like with Blackfish, yes, I do know that this is problematic. So I am not downplaying that. But I do think it's interesting that if you really think about it prospectively, you have an open mind, you think about it from all angles, we kind of do sort of like similar things as well to the other cultures. So
I'm so glad you mentioned that point, because I think it is very true, and it kind of leads me to two different thoughts. The first is that I feel like, yes, as you were saying, blackfishing is a very serious thing, and when we see it, we should call it out. And there's going to be another example I'm going to mention, which is very blatant blackfishing. But I also feel like it's 2021, and when will we get to a point where someone can genuinely be appreciating a culture and not accused of appropriating it? The other thought I had was about Adele, and you said, like, in America there was a lot of people that cared. Here there were a few, but majority didn't care. And then in the countries in Africa and also Jamaica, where there was the debate about the hair and where it originated, they didn't care at all. Countries that don't deal with racism to the same extent. So in Jamaica, you're not going to have racism in terms of you're black because it's a black country. But in America, where there's such a fight for what is yours and what can be yours and what can belong to you in the black community, and the same here, it's very interesting to see how the two sides, like one side's, well, what's your point? What's your problem? Whereas the other side's like, no, but we've had to fight for this, so we want to keep it. So I thought that was also quite interesting.
Oh yeah, we see that a lot in the States. I mean, again, you're talking about a group of people who are brought here against their will. Their culture, it's the same as indigenous, because I have African and I have indigenous. There really is a huge, like, if you think about it, similarity between these two groups, because Africans, indigenous, had their language taken away, had their religions taken away, their culture taken away. They were both oppressed, still are. So when you have something, when you have a hairstyle or you have a dance or you have anything, yeah, of course you're going to be protective of that. But at the same time, I think that the big thing that I've come to notice, and this could be because of especially American culture, we don't seem to understand that with other cultures, not just white Americans. I'm talking about like across the board. Like I think it would be really interesting that people would probably be in their feelings of like somebody who wasn't a POC learned Swahili, but yet somebody who is a POC can learn German and French, or any of the other European languages, and that's completely okay. Yeah, we can't get mad about that. We actually should see that as, hey, they're interested in this culture and they want to learn Swahili. That should be a good thing. Yeah. But yeah, we're not at a point, especially here in the social climate, we're not at a point where we can see it objectively like that. Everything is like, you're stealing from us, you take from us already. Stop taking. And that's the overall mindset. Yeah. So yeah,
I really wanted to bring in the classic example when it comes to blackfishing, which is Rachel Dolezal. So Rachel is genetically white, but if you ask her that, she's black because she identifies as black. If you're watching and you've not seen this, there is a documentary called The Rachel Divide on Netflix. The point I was trying to make, or want to make, is in a world where we have people like Rachel, people like Ollie, who are at such an extreme, how can we kind of put that in the same basket as someone like Jesy? And obviously I'm not saying one outweighs the other, but I'm just saying, when I think blackfishing, I also think of someone saying, no, I am this, and they're kind of like ignoring everything else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, first of all, sitting in a tanning bed and getting a perm does not make you black. I'm sorry. Sorry. I have said that we talk a lot about our mixed identity, of how we would like to be seen as mixed, and genetically we are mixed. I'm never going to take a full black person's role in anything, because it's not fair. It's just not. So if I can't do it, and my daddy looks completely black, and he's half black, and I claim my blackness, I am not going to accept a white person telling me just randomly, oh, I'm black. You are not a transformer. You cannot do this. That is not how the world works. If we could do that, I'm a trillionaire today.
I was going to say I'm rich. That's how I identify.
I am rich. I am no longer in debt with student loans. Student loans be gone. We have this reality now, because we are in the matrix. So no, that is not, no.
I know that we say it's called blackfishing, but even that term I personally don't like. Even though they are fishing, they're not fishing. That's what I'm seeing.
You're not casting a line out and like reeling in black people from the ocean. I don't understand that. Black shading, black mimicking. I mean, there are better words here, guys.
But also, just like aesthetically, they look more ambiguous rather than black. And I think even using the term blackfishing and saying, for example, Jesy Nelson blackfishing, that then puts in non-mixed people's minds, oh, so that's what a black person looks like, and then makes it harder for mixed race people when they say, but no, this is what mixed race people look like. And of course we all look different anyway, but it makes it harder because it just sort of perpetuates that idea that a black person can be that shade if they're not mixed, that is.
You have to break down the levels here. Yes, when you think about it from, again, our social climate, it's really messed up and very hard for us. You're basically, as mixed people, we already have the struggle. The struggle is real, because I don't care how many videos you watch on mixed identity from other people, especially if you go to a channel that's either predominantly black or predominantly white. Everybody's got an opinion on what you should be. And then when you look at the comment sections, they even start arguing with each other about you. You're not even involved in the conversation. They're arguing about what you are, and you're not even invited to the party. That's how messed up that is. But then on a psychological level, these people need help. Like, seriously, this is people are getting mad, and this actually is a cry for help. This woman generally doesn't like herself. Yeah. Especially with the Nicki Minaj video girl, because that's what I'm calling her now. The oldness is shining through. I feel like people like her, it is when you have to make yourself look like something else. There's no difference than her doing this and like my daughter going to an anime con and dressing like her favorite anime character. In that moment, she really feels that she's this little animated Japanese character running around this convention, and you can't tell her she's not. That's a way of escaping. It's escapism.
Yeah.
It's the same reason we throw ourselves into dramas and all these soap opera TV shows that we watch and these movies that we like. But at some point, you have to turn off that sense of fantasy and go back to reality. And I think the problem with these people is they are not. And so the fantasy is still going. I feel like with Jesy, now I don't know her backstory. I don't know if she was in a band that was predominantly white or mixed or what.
So she's from Little Mix, which is the biggest at the moment girl group in the UK. And the makeup of Little Mix was, you had one fully white person, one mixed race, and one who is Arab descent. And then obviously Jesy, who's white, sorry.
So Jesy was just like, I just need to fill that black quota. I mean, is that what it is? We don't have blackness. I'm the only one here, so let me go to the mixed girl. But I mean, no, maybe she just felt like, and you know how you look at other nationalities and you're like, oh, that's so exotic and so cool. And then you're like, oh, it's just that. They're very pretty. I love that. You know, maybe she just got in her head that POC is better.
Yeah.
And we need to get to a point where everybody just thinks that everyone's equal, but you know, we're generations from that. But I really feel like that's a psychological thing. This is a really bad inferiority complex that is based in non-reality. And that is what people literally should be talking about. Don't get angry at her, feel bad for her, because this is actually more of a mental health issue.
I think that probably just nails it on the head. And that is the vibe I do get from these people who are kind of delusional in terms of who they are and just not loving who they are rather than trying to be who they are in this imaginary world. A point I made to my Thai teacher is the problem I find as well with this is it blurs the line between someone who, like we already mentioned, someone who genuinely appreciates the culture and someone who's appropriating it. And I said to her that, like, even me sometimes, like with my YouTube, I was very cautious, and I still am very careful in the type of Thai videos I make, because I don't want people to get confused. I don't want people to suddenly think, oh, this girl wants to be Thai. Don't get twisted. I love Thai culture, I love learning. I love Chinese culture, I love learning Chinese. I'm very proud to be who I am. I love me. I don't want to be these things. I just want to learn the languages. But it makes me feel like I almost have to justify that before people think I'm crazy. If that makes, like, do you know what I mean?
No, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I'm married to a Korean American. So, I mean, I understand completely. Being ambiguous, you know, when you look ambiguous and people assign you role, like I don't even get assigned what I actually am. You know, I'm Black, I'm, you know, Native American, and I'm, you know, Scottish. That is what I am. But people look at me and they're like, ha, Hispanic, or I get Filipino, I get all of these things. And I'm like, some of the things I don't even see you guys are assigning me. And if I say, like, just say I was one of those people that was really ashamed of my POC side, I can be like, well, at least my Black side, I guess is what we'd be saying. I can say, oh, I'm fully Native American. Or, oh yeah, I'm Hispanic. Who on YouTube would know I was lying?
Yeah, it's true.
And then say I made it big later, they were like, oh, this is her daddy. Lie. Lie. You hate yourself. Like, you know, so I mean, we're always, when you're ambiguous especially, you're always running the risk of cultural appropriation. Unfortunately, Hollywood takes advantage of that. And when you're ambiguous, I don't care if you're mixed or you're just ambiguous something else. I mean, you could be Black, white, whatever, and look really ambiguous. Mixed people do not own the coin. We have not copyrighted ambiguous.
Yeah.
You know, so being ambiguous is something that can happen across all, you know, nationalities, cultures, races, whatever. But when you are, and Hollywood looks at you, they're like, oh yeah, you can play this role. But I don't speak this language, I've never been to this country, I don't know these people, it's fine, just read your lines.
Yeah.
And it's completely accepted. So yeah, that the whole Blackfish actually opens up a can of worms and a lot of questions that go way beyond Blackfishing. So, and again, yes, I still hate that word. We are not fishing for people.
I hate the term, but I think this is a good spot to end on. I think because Blackfishing, transracial, all of these sort of new age terms to basically mean changing race or trying to change your race is a huge topic that I do think at the moment it feels this small, but if you actually look deeper, like you were mentioning in terms of these people needing help, and then I was saying with the blurring the lines, it opens so much more, and of course we don't have time to discuss it all. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I know you wanna see us, you know, solve the world problems, but we can't. This was very, very fun, and I hope interesting for those watching, just our sort of candid thoughts on the recent drama that has been happening. We will of course be doing more videos in the future because it's us. But that does bring us to the end, so please again do go to Maria's channel, smash the like, the share, subscribe over on her channel, and also watch our other video that we are making about, you know, Dr. Umar and his thoughts. And smash the like, the share, and the subscribe on my channel. Drop in the comments what you thought of this video and about blackfishing in general. Let us know, I'll be very interested to see. So as always, have a blessed day, and until next time, Saudi Tuk Konka. Zaijian. Goodbye everyone.